you ready to party? Let's go.
James and Richard, welcome to the podcast. It's James Rohrig, and
Richard Harvey.
Okay, I was like, why am I going to even try this? Dude? I'm gonna let these guys do their thing.
You got it, man.
But thanks, guys, for taking the time to come on the podcast. Really appreciate it. Excited to have you here. You're representing Verdugo Firefighters for Freedom, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
Awesome, man. Firefighters for Freedom, excuse me, is something that I know we're passionate about and we support. I'm always wearing a hat on here because we've had Johnny Knoxville, Mark Zizi, Mark Samama, all those guys on here, which I'm sure you guys know or linked to, right?
Yep.
One thing, out of respect for the Firefighters for Freedom, we are still in the process of forming the Verdugo chapter.
Okay.
We're working on a certain number of board members that we have to have through the state filing. So out of respect for those guys, I just want to let you know.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Okay, so you guys still have to, it's not a fully formed chapter yet. It's getting worked on.
Correct.
Okay, and when you say file paperwork, it means for it to be like legit, you actually have to file I didn't know that.
Right. So they have directors, board chairman, board spots, secretaries, and I already said treasurers, but those spots have to be filled in order for like the bylaws to be signed off on.
Okay.
So we're almost there.
Beautiful. I love it. And when did this kind of start for you guys?
Well, for us, back in October of last year, the mandates really hit LA county-wide. And the state of California actually came out and had said that they mandated healthcare workers get the shot.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And in LA County, for us specifically, it was more firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics were classified under the umbrella of a healthcare worker. Mm. So once we were classified under the umbrella of a healthcare worker, the public health director, Barbara Ferrer, then is the one that basically gave that directive out. It was passed down then to the counties or to the cities within Los Angeles County to basically interpret that and interpret the disciplinary action or enforce that mandate to whatever degree they deem reasonable.
Okay.
So that's where you saw each individual city kind of acting differently, but all falling under this mandate that was actually stricter and is actually stricter than that of which the state is. The state's mandating that all healthcare workers get vaccinated, but you'll see different counties respond to that differently because not in every county are firefighters classified as healthcare workers.
So that's unique to LA County then?
Yes, sir.
Being that we're classified as healthcare workers, at least for the fire department, which is interesting to me, right? Because really when we got hired, we're classified as firefighters, right? I mean, it's firefighter, EMT, or firefighter paramedic, right? And
truly what the conversations we're having with the County Board of Supervisors is we're encouraging them to change the language. Now that we have such high percentages of firefighters that are not considered vaccinated, today we're encouraging them to have these conversations with Barbara Ferrer and change the language. And that firefighters are not classified or EMTs are not classified as healthcare workers,
right,
which would relieve us of these mandates that are crippling our fire departments.
Well, it's almost like by labeling us under that, they have control, right? That's what it seems like, personally for me. Like, why would you label firefighters and like, come on? I mean, it's just my personal thought, but this is Barbara. Who is she again?
Barbara Ferrer. She is the director at Public Health.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think Barbara, so you guys are under the LA County umbrella, of course, because of where you work.
Yep.
But LA County fire is also getting hit pretty hard, right? Because I've been talking to a few of those guys, and they're a little stressed out. It's like we're on the chopping block. And it's like, what happened to freedom of choice? My body, my choice, right? We have this, it's kind of a touchy subject, but this whole abortion thing is going down. Now everyone's, screaming, my body, my choice. Like, well, if it's my body, my choice, you better stick to it 100%. Because if it's my body, my choice, how come we don't have a choice to get a vaccination that's being put into my body?
Right.
That's kind of why I talk. I'm like, it can't be wishy-washy on this, man. It's got to be, you're for something, you need to stick to it all the way in every shape and form.
So we're going to talk a little bit about CPF. I was going to bring CPF up in a little bit in relation to that topic. But what really kind of helped James and I come together and form up this team and the Verdugo Firefighters for Freedom chapter was the cities within our local. So Verdugo Firefighters for Freedom encompasses 12 different departments within Area C.
Okay.
And every city within the Verdugo area was operating a little bit differently, all under the direction of LA Public Health. But the interpretation of that mandate and how to implement the disciplinary action was different. Some cities are granting religious and medical exemptions, and some cities are not. Now, we're all firemen, and we're all here to do the same job, and we all support one another at the end of the day, no matter what.
Absolutely.
We all show up to the same fires and the same commercial fires or brush fires. We all help each other out in time of need.
Right.
What really brought us here after a series of events from the mandate being implemented in October of last year was seeing what was happening in San Marino. And a good buddy of mine that I had actually grown up with was filed for a religious exemption in the city of San Marino, and his exemption was essentially not granted nor denied, but they refused to accommodate for his religious exemption.
So it's denied then?
It's denied.
Come on, dude.
He was terminated.
Oh, no.
And this man is a man of God. He was firefighter of the year, first vice president of the union at the time, and there was no grace, there was no mercy.
Where's the union in all this?
Well, that's the thing. From my perspective, there was no support. And that's what bothered me so much. Coming from another agency, he didn't work at my department, but we both wore a badge.
Yeah.
And to me, he's my brother.
Yes.
We've been on strike teams together. We've been on, we work together, maybe not at the same agency, but we're both firemen.
Yeah.
And he didn't have anywhere to turn. He didn't have that support. And that's why when Firefighter4Freedom Verdugo kind of started, I wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me.
Now, and you two don't work in the same department, right?
No.
So how were you two brought together to start this? Was this something that you kind of both reached out, or did you see Firefighters4Freedom, in LA, they started and you kind of want to jump on board with that?
Yeah. So for me,
Yeah.
LA City was going through what they were going through.
Yeah.
I got Ty's a phone call or a phone number of Mark Zizi.
Okay.
I gave him a phone call and said, "Hey, I work here. This is what's happening within my department. What do I need to do?"
Yeah.
He sent me a lot of information in regards to Firefighters4Freedom and how to set up, a battalion, and then the whole thing. They had the skeleton that was needed.
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody to really get started with all that. Well, not too long after, I get a phone call from Harv
Okay.
saying, "Hey, we're starting a Verdugo Firefighters4Freedom," and I put my hand up and said, "Yeah, let's do it."
I love it. I think, did I see you, Richard, at there's an event in Santa Monica? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, dude.
Yeah,
Okay.
I came down in my work clothes. It was a long day, and I ran out to support you guys and to support all of us. And I say God brought us together. I mean, this has been a tremendous time for me personally. The stress, the unsettling feeling. It's been tough to see my brothers and sisters kind of be hurting, and to not see the cohesiveness and the unity that I kind of came to expect in the fire service was really disheartening. So I reached out to Mark Zizi and Jeff and John and Mark's mama and these guys a long time ago, last year, kind of in the midst of the beginning of it, and really said, "Hey, what can we do to help you guys? You guys are hurting. We need to come together right now. I know that we're standing up for the truth. What can I do to help you guys?"
Yeah.
Whether it be monetary, marching on the streets, holding town hall meetings, go to city council meetings, we'll do whatever it takes for you guys. And they said, "Hey, thanks. You know what? Let's do this. You guys start a chapter, get some guys on board, try to unite the departments, and let's fight on a united stance, because really there's going to be power in numbers in this, and that's where we're going to be successful." So that's kind of how we started and came together, and I was pointed in James' direction, and I've met James is a stud, by the way.
Yes, he is. I agree.
He's an absolute
Just met him today.
stud.
And right here,
Dude, James is a man of God, man, and I am just so grateful and honored that I've had the opportunity to meet James through this and some other incredible guys. I mean, Scott from Pasadena. We've met Chase and Dominic from Monterey Park. Just some incredible men, some firemen. And I'm a family man. I'm not a constitutional lawyer. I'm not a politician. I'm not a public speaker.
You're doing great, dude.
I'm just a fireman.
Yeah, I'm not any of those.
You guys are doing great, man. This is good.
I come from a small family. I've always wanted, brothers, and that's why I came into the fire service for the family and for the unity and for the cohesion, for the teamwork, and I love working with my hands. And yeah, it's just been an incredible opportunity to come together and meet some good guys. So we started this chapter, and we've been creating some relationships, and it's been really good.
Yeah, it seems like sounds like your faith is definitely leading you guys and holding you together, huh?
It is the most important part of my life.
Yeah, I would say, for me, I've mentioned this in the last few episodes. My faith has kind of been a little bit renewed. I've had some stuff happen, at least for me in my life, medically and privately, but I've come to realize, all these things that we have, including our job and the possessions and the success are great, but it means nothing if I don't have my faith. And I grew up in a Christian home, very religious home. I had my problems with church and all those other things, but man, you get some life under your belt and you start going through some issues and some problems. You're like, I need something here. Yeah. Because I'm doing what everyone in the world says is success, and it is empty as hell. I don't know what's going on. I need some hope. And I think that's one thing, at least in my faith, that's been nurturing the past couple months is peace and hope. Is that even though there's madness happening around us, there's still a plan and that God is in control. And even though we may think there's no way out and it's impossible, he'll always make a way. There's a plan, And I remember reading in this devotional 2 days ago that we don't serve a God of confusion. He has a plan and he uses things to teach us. And the biggest thing this devotional I've been going through, it's called In the Wilderness. It's how sometimes when you're in that in-between, right? When you're starting something, but you want to get to an end goal and things happen in between and you're in this rough spot. What's the Lord trying to teach you?
Right.
What is he trying to do, right? Israelites, 40 years? Dude, I remember reading that, I was like, I hope it's not 40 years, dude. Like, can we bump it down to 6 months or something? But my goodness, how much you learn in your faith and in trusting and realizing that maybe it's one thing doesn't work out, there's something better coming, and bringing Firefighters for Freedom on and some other political people, I've been hearing that a lot as people's faith has been really tried and tested, and they're using it during this time, and it's actually been pretty encouraging to me. It's great to hear that you guys are believers and that you feel convicted and you're doing this. I mean, it's a big deal. As firefighters, gosh, we're called everyone's worst day. And I remember thinking a lot of times there's a lot of us that suffer from PTSD and some other things, but it's like I've seen it. I felt it. I'm here helping all these people and serving my community, but sometimes I feel like I can't even help myself. And even like right now with all the stuff with how crazy politics are in our culture and how everything in our culture, it's almost like bad is good and good is bad. And we're just being stomped out right now. It's like, wait a minute. We're the ones here helping people. Like we're sacrificing our lives, our sleep, our health, all the things we're exposed to on fires, and how even lack of sleep is the number one carcinogen. And they don't even talk about it in the fire service, It's really encouraging to hear you guys talk about your faith and that it's leading you and how strong it is for you guys, and I hope that continues to lead you through this time because it's not easy. It's a pain, right? You talk about the stress. I can't imagine the stress you're under thinking, man, I might lose my job. What am I going to do? Mm-hmm. Talking about that firefighter who was let go. And I'm thinking, man, what would I do if I got let go because I didn't get a vaccination? It's right. Crazy. You feel like you're backstabbed.
That could be any one of us.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, where are the unions in all this? We're paying our union dues. You're supposed to represent us. How come you're not fighting for my job? But you'll fight for you'll fight for your guy's job who got a DUI, but you're not going to fight for me? Come on,
don't
dude.
even get me started on that.
So that's a great question, and praise God, man. I'm encouraged to hear about your walk with the Lord, and I give all the glory to God. I'm each and every day it's a struggle for me, but I am a man that loves my relationship with the Lord, and I do fear God more than any man out there.
Oh, you should absolutely.
And these mandates have been stressful to say the least on us, and I'm not convinced that the public fully understands what's happening to us individually, emotionally, and mentally, nor are they fully understanding the impact that it's having on services that are being provided. And that's another thing that kind of brought us together is, there wasn't a true unity in the Area C departments amongst the unions. We noticed that it was more of a fend for yourself, fight for yourself kind of dogfight in this, and that if you say you were safe, then just don't talk about it and let it be brushed under the rug, water under the bridge. Let's not shine any light on it. When in everything we've ever done before and what the CPF has ever done before is backed by unity and power in numbers.
Right.
And that, for some reason, which, we know the answer to now, it was not happening, and it was disheartening. It's been discouraging. It's been frustrated. I mean, you talk about a wide range of emotions. It's been hard when myself I had expectations of leadership and expectations of my union.
And that could really let you down.
Oh, it's been tough.
Yeah, that could really be disheartening.
And ultimately, my expectations have led to my disappointments in this entire thing. And we're here to change that.
Yeah,
we're here to fight for one another, no matter what. We're going to stand together. We're going to stand united, and we may not always agree. But when somebody's hurting, we're going to stand and we're going to fight for them. We're going to be there to help them and walk them through it. So, I mean, throughout all of this has created staffing issues, resource availability issues. We've shut down resources throughout LA County. We're sending home we're sending home guys that are asymptomatic, willing and wanting to work due to, a 10-day exposure policy pushed forward by LA County Public Health. Things that just don't make sense. And ultimately, the ones that are sacrificing the most in this is the public.
Oh, and they have no idea.
They have no idea.
They have no idea.
No, they have no clue.
Yeah. And let alone now we have firemen that are just fleeing LA County and they're lateraling out to other departments just to get away from this. And if, you can't tell me a department or an organization in Orange County or San Bernardino County or Kern County that are implementing these kinds of mandates or policies. It's just happening here in LA County because this has been political from day one.
Oh yeah, and what's the best way government can conquer is divide. And I try to tell people, you don't think that they are trying to come after fire police for a reason. Our unions are so stinking strong.
This was the smartest, most strategic way to defund the police without actually defunding.
Oh yeah. Well, and I tell people too, you think they're going to stop at police? Police and fire budgets usually coincide. The next, my thought was like the next is probably going to be the fire department. It's just kind of the way that the world is going right now. And I'm thinking, what are you guys going to do when you need help? Straight up, that's what we're here for. We're here to serve our community. We don't care about your religion, your race, how rich you are. We're going to treat you with respect and we're going to help you. We don't care if you agree with our vaccination beliefs or not. When the call comes out, we go.
We're going to be there.
We are going to be there. We're there to serve. And if so be it, we will lay down our life for you. And we've seen it throughout the years. And that's what bugs me the most is the non-support from management and then also, I guess we could say politicians. And it's almost, everything I've seen, it's like comes down to politics and money.
Yep.
And it's like, you guys understand, if you don't have police and fire, what's going to happen when you call 911? You're just going to send a hope and a prayer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's crazy.
Right.
It's absolutely nuts, dude.
Yeah. This whole thing has been disheartening and it's been tough. And we're losing highly valuable members within our departments and our organizations. Well-seasoned, 20 plus years on the job that are either leaving, being terminated.
And that's so important to the fire service. You got to have the veterans teaching the new personnel coming in.
Yeah.
You have to.
Ultimately, this is going to amount to an extreme amount of liability on these organizations. When we're operating with 5 less year guys on engine companies, we're asking for something to go wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, you guys forming up in being a part of Firefighters for Freedom, I can imagine you're going against the flow. You ain't doing the popular thing right now, right? At least what culture and the media says. So you got to be getting some pushback. How's that been for you guys?
There's pushback everywhere. Not just at the station, but within the whole department. I've noticed. But when you're standing for what's morally right, at least in my opinion, it's a lot easier to take that.
True.
So for me, and I'll put the question to you.
Yeah.
We had a department within our Area C that was more or less fully vaccinated. Mm-hmm. But they had that member that we had talked about earlier who lost their job
Yeah.
because he wasn't. they had COVID run throughout the department. So positive COVID firefighters
with people who were vaccinated.
They were vaccinated, but they didn't have the personnel to shut down. So you had positive COVID firefighters working after they had just let go a guy who was not vaccinated but was not sick.
That is so backwards and upside down,
isn't it? Wow. So at that point, you're on the right side of what's going on.
Oh yeah,
because you're standing up for not just the unity of the firefighters all over the Southern California more or less, but you're standing on the right side of what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great example. I mean, it's so flipped and backwards. You're going to lay off a guy, but now since you don't have enough resources, guys who are testing positive and have the vaccine, you're going to keep them on duty.
Yeah,
I mean, dude, you
flip the script when it's convenient.
Yeah, come on. You said it perfect, right? When it's convenient, we'll flip it around.
Yep. This thing has been pushed all under the scope or the umbrella of public safety. And in fact, it has nothing to do with that.
No, public safety. Okay, so you don't want people with COVID responding on calls, but you don't have enough personnel. So the guy who's vaccinated and has COVID, you're going to now expose them to your citizens.
Right.
Come on.
Public safety went out the window at that point.
It's so ridiculous.
You're lying to me at that point.
Oh, yeah.
You're straight up lying.
Yeah. But you guys have to be getting pushback.
Oh, I mean, the amount of pushback, mocked, laughed at, name called, aggressively charged. It's extremely disheartening. And I mean, dude, it's not easy, losing friends or people.
Oh no, it's terrible.
It's been tough. It's been really tough, man. And there's not a minute that goes by that, I don't think about it. Some of the friends that I've kind of lost throughout this, and it's been tough. The union, surprisingly as it is, as much as, the sole existence of the union is there to protect its members. And I'm grateful where I come from. Our union had a lot of input in getting, our exemptions successfully put through. But I still think, any one of us could have been, San Marino fireman. Any one of us could have been LA City. So for us to not come together and unite, and that was really what kind of brought us together, was our unions weren't talking amongst each other. Everyone was more of a fend for yourself kind of ideology or strategic game plan. Let's just fend for ourselves. As long as we're taken care of, as long as I got mine, let's not worry about anybody else. Well, that's never been the mentality of the fire service. That's not why I signed up. And, that's not why you guys said. We're always there for one another, no matter what. Okay. So this kind of allowed us the opportunity to communicate amongst each other and to use each other as a support system and to be there for one another when we need each other. So whether it's attending a city council meeting, hosting a town hall meeting, having meetings with the county board of supervisors, or coming together and forming up a strategy or a game plan, putting boots on the ground and actually marching like the union should be doing.
Right.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. It's, gosh, man. You bring up a good points because I think we all got into the career because it is kind of the family brotherhood. And a lot of people don't understand what's so different from our jobs is we don't just go to an office 9 to 5 and then come home. We're living with these people. You're talking, depending on the department you're at, you could be on 48-hour shifts or what people call a, modified Kelly schedule or Kelly, whatever it is, but you're living with these people. And now there's this divide. And what I've always loved about the fire service, and I still think it's there, but there's just a lot of issues, is we can come from so many different backgrounds and different beliefs, but we all come together as one, and that's to make sure we are giving humanity a second chance. We're helping people. And now that's starting to see a divide, and in my opinion, it's very dangerous because crews have to be united. You have to have a solid crew. I mean, that because you want to be able to depend on that person who's sitting in the seat next to you or the captain who's up front or your engineer, not putting politics inside and saying, F this guy because he doesn't want to get vaccinated. What happened to the days of agreeing to disagree? You can have your beliefs and I can have mine. We can disagree and we can still come together and get a job done. Why is it if you're not a part of this party or that party, you're screwed up? If you're not for me, you're against me. It's like, that's not how this is supposed to be. That's not historically how it was. It's like, even to the point, I've said this on this podcast before, I've always been raised that no matter who's president, you want to pray for them, make sure they're successful. You want them to do well for our country. I mean, the future of the United States depends on it. Now it's
100%.
like, screw you. You're not Republican. You're not Democrat. It's crazy. Like, dude, we could still work together here and figure this out. But it's like, no one wants to listen to each other. Nobody wants to have the hard conversations and talk about it because you don't know in those conversations, it could change me. Right. It could change, what I say could change the other person, or we have a better understanding of each other and why. And I feel like that's so lost right now. Why does it have to be just because I don't want to be vaccinated, I'm the one who's screwed up here? No, I mean, I just don't want to do it. What's the big deal? Why does it matter to you?
This is so much larger than just
absolutely
me individually or just us. I mean, this is so much larger, and that's really what we're standing for. And the leaders that we kind of expected, or I expected, is to take a stance and stand true to their values and their morals. I haven't seen it. It's been disheartening. I mean, how many times I was walking around the fire station, my own home, my second home. These guys know me, sometimes better than my own family. I mean, these guys are my family, and they know the truth. We all know the truth, and I'm walking around with a mask on, and I'm the only one, and I'm can't drink out of the same water fountain. And,
well, isn't that segregation in its own
right?
way? That's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, so now we're going back to segregation. You're singling a person out. I thought that was
who just
wrong.
Tested negative, by the way.
Right.
The only one in the room.
Right.
Right. So it's like, again, you're gonna flip flop your politics and what works for your narrative, but you're still singling somebody out. I thought that was wrong. I thought we're trying to get past that. Isn't that something we fought for years in this country, and now we're going to continue to segregate people?
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense.
And yeah,
it's insane seeing the division, and as just a civilian, like hearing you, Richard, and hearing like how the division is at multiple levels. Like you went from the top down, the department, the union, inside of the department. Like each one of you have friends. Like you guys work together every day, and you're seeing the division at every single level. That hit me, and then also the cohesion that comes from faith. You guys mentioned earlier. It's amazing. Like Tim and I completely agree. Like with everything that's going on, obviously. And I feel like that's because of faith, because we have that base, that rock to stand on.
Yeah.
It's amazing seeing how everything falls apart. There's faith.
Yeah.
And then that is what is like, that's the bottom line that's left to bring us together. But it's unfortunate that it has to come to that, like I don't know. It sucks. It's stupid, really.
Maybe it's a good thing, though.
Exactly, because it highlights the faith.
My faith has been strengthened because of all this.
Right.
I've never had to worry about losing my job. That was one of the perks of being a fireman.
Yeah,
it's like, hey,
great point.
I just hit the lotto as far as I'm concerned, right?
Right.
I've been in for 12 years. I never would have expected that my job was going to be on the line. And because of that decision, which I didn't really feel like was a fair choice,
Right.
You either get it or you lose your job. That didn't seem like a fair choice to me.
No.
But I had my own convictions on what I felt was right for me and my family at that time.
Yeah.
And they said, no, you have a choice. You will lose your job if you don't get it. It didn't seem like a fair choice, but I had gotten to the point where I realized that my dependence doesn't come from man. My dependence doesn't come from even my job or my money that I make. My dependence solely relies on him. And so my faith has been strengthened. My relationship with my wife has been strengthened. We've been reading the Bible every morning.
That's huge, dude.
Yeah.
huge.
It's actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise, more or less.
Yeah.
If I can touch on something you mentioned earlier, you said peace and hope.
Yeah.
Those two things.
Yeah.
We had our third baby in November last year.
Boy, hit that bell.
Number
That's
three,
what I'm talking about.
Number three. We named her Hope, and that was the reason why.
Nice, dude.
That was the reason why.
That's rad.
Going through all that in October, not sure what the future held for us.
Yeah.
We didn't name her till she was born. We didn't know what to name her, but when she showed up, it was pretty evident that we needed hope during this whole thing.
Yeah. So she was born during COVID.
Yeah, it was.
Dude, that's got to be radical.
Oh yeah.
With a mask on my wife and everything. The whole time.
As she's just in dire pain.
Yeah.
God bless your wife.
Yeah.
Dude.
No,
Jeez.
I made it out without yelling at anybody.
Yeah.
But it was close a couple times.
Better man than I.
Oh my
Right.
God. I was thinking about that too. I told people I can't imagine if I had a kid right now. This has got to be a nightmare.
No, full labor, push in. Please put your mask back on.
Oh
Unreal.
my god.
Yeah, dude, like get out of the room. I'll do this maybe myself. Dude.
I actually, well, we don't need to get into it. But I strapped up, ready to go.
Oh heck yeah.
And I did mention something like that. We'll say that.
Yeah, man, dude, you're sticking up for your family. I respect.
But there was a verse specifically that helped me through. Every morning I'd show up at work.
Yeah.
And I'd have to remind myself I'm the one wearing the mask. No one else is. But I'm gonna glorify God in everything I do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a smile on my face, even though they won't see it. But they'll see in my actions that I'm excited to be here. I'm not gonna let go because I'm a bad fireman. I'm gonna be let go because I didn't get a shot. That's the reason. I'm gonna work my tail off and be the best fireman I can be until that happens.
Yeah.
But I always read Philippians 4 verse 6
Oh, bring it, baby.
every morning before I'd walk into the station. Verse 6 and 7. So don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank him for what he's done. Then you will experience God's peace, which is what you were saying, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your heart and your minds as you live in Christ.
Dude.
That was it.
Dude. I love it. I love it, man. You guys brought up a good point, too. It's almost like the Lord will get, at least for me, he'll get my attention by tearing things away from me.
Yep.
It's almost like your stubbornness. You're like, I got this. I can do it on my own. Good. It's okay. I'll let you do it for some years, But you need to realize you need me. So I'm going to have to do something to get you back. And there's a song that I listen to all the time, but it's like, there's no mountain he won't climb up. I was thinking, no mountain you won't climb up. No, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like he'll climb that mountain. He'll do it. He'll pull you out of the dark. He'll do whatever it takes, no matter how much it hurts you, just so you can come back to him, because he wants you to rely on him. He wants you to see how much he loves you, and that's where I was at. You start realizing like, oh man, there's, if you want to be real here, there's a lot happening in the world that's insane. And they're talking about a one world government, defunding police. They want to fire healthcare workers, all this stuff. We have a shortage on formula for our mothers. We got crazy terrorists coming through our open borders of Mexico that they're starting to catch. And it's just like, yo, man, I feel like we're going to be in for a real rude awakening here one of these days. And it's like, what do you expect? What do you expect when you want all this, I want to dare say it's evil, run the world. I mean, come on. It's what do you expect? But from that, it's like what you read. And what kind of gives me peace is like, no matter what, I know I'm going to be good. I may go through a difficult time. Things may change around me. May lose my job. I don't know. But having that faith means, okay, that means the Lord has something in store for me. It's better.
There's more to life than just your job.
And that's one thing I had to get over through the years is like, I definitely made my job number one, and I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
You're working all the overtime. You're the new guy, and you want to be there and do this. And
It's tough.
it's hard. My life suffered.
We pour our blood, sweat, and tears into our jobs and into our careers, and
absolutely.
it's hard for it to not take over your life. You know? Especially when you spend 120 hours, 96 hours a week there. That becomes your family.
Mm-hmm.
And it's disheartening when they're not necessarily the ones that you expected to kind of push and fight for you really aren't.
Yeah. I mean, man will fail you. And that's something I realized. It doesn't matter if it's a best friend or someone in your church or work. We're human. We're going to fail. We're going to let people down. But the one thing that has not failed me yet, and I wish I would have grabbed on a lot sooner in my life, is my faith. It has brought peace that surpasses all understanding. And during times when COVID's hitting, right, guys are losing their job, it's like, what's going to happen? Well, I had a friend who left the fire service here in LA County. He went to Texas. He sold everything, took his family out there. He was like, I don't care. I'm over it. I'm done.
Huge move.
Yeah,
right?
he was like, I'm good. He's a believer. I was like, all right, dude. Hit him up. He's been gone a year now. He bought a big rig, and now he uses his big rig. He just delivers within Texas. Dude is crushing it. Makes his own hours. He doesn't leave the state. He's up to 350, 400K. I was like, bro, you're doing way better than you were in California.
Yeah.
And, so he's
and
like,
half the taxes.
And one thing that occurs about him, he was never worried. He's like, cool, I don't need to do this job anymore. Forget it. I'll figure it out. I'll do something else. Lord's good.
And I was talking to John yesterday, and And that's it. We get so consumed. I get so consumed in the fire service, and really, it's been a huge part of my life and who I am.
It's a calling, you know.
Yeah.
It is a calling. It really is, and we're talented individuals. We can pretty much do anything. And John kind of made a good point. He's like, you can really go anywhere in this world and do anything and be pretty successful at it. Like the fire service is not the end all be all. Try not to.
But isn't that what we're kind of taught, right? When we go through college academy or explorers,
right?
Getting hired, right? It's like, this is the best job in the world. You can't, you're just like, all right, cool. And you start biting off on that. And you get a little reality check. You're dealing with people in the fire department. Then you realize it's becoming more political, more about money and not really serving the people. You're just like, wait, what?
It's disheartening.
What happened?
I know.
Right. And we were talking about integrity. James and I were on the way here, and just when we started, a decade and a half ago in the fire service, integrity was the backbone of the fire service. I mean, if you lacked integrity, you didn't belong here. So, and integrity doesn't mean just doing the right thing when nobody's watching, but standing up and believing in and morally having a strong moral compass. And really, we've lacked integrity in this entire situation, and we've essentially told everybody that this is about the safety of the public, and we've pushed this narrative forward, and it's all on false pretenses.
Yeah.
And back to the state union, which a lot of our smaller unions and organizations and locals were kind of looking for guidance, more or less. Before stepping out on a limb on their own, we're more or less looking for guidance from the larger local 112, 1014, the state union, and waiting for a strategy to come down the road. And it really wasn't. And that's what brought the individuals to say, hey, what's the game plan here? What are we doing? How are we preparing for it? I mean, we prepare for the worst of the worst situations on a daily basis. We train for low risk, high risk, low frequency events all the time. And, for us not to plan for the worst on this just didn't make much sense.
Yeah.
So we started asking questions. Hey, where is CPF? What are they doing? What are they going to do when this lands on our doorstep? We see what's happening in local 112 right now in LA City. We're not far away. We work in the same county. So what in the world are we going to do? Yeah. And there wasn't. There was nothing. There was crickets from CPF. In fact, we actually, encouraged our local to have 112 out and CPF come out, and Rex Pritchard is our second district vice president, and ask what are we going to do? What are you guys doing? How are we fighting this? And the advice was that it's an unsuccessful battle. If you bite the hand that feeds you, and that's the bureaucrats or the politicians that promise great rewards, if you go against what they say, we're going to lose our pay raise, and it's not worth us to fight it. And for me to hear that, I lost a lot of faith in I lost a lot of faith. That was extremely disheartening to hear that.
That's a gut punch.
For us to put money,
gut punch.
For us to put money first,
yeah,
is the exact opposite of who we are, of who I am.
I think people forget that there are power in numbers. The power is in the people. And maybe things have shifted in the political world where they think, well, these leaders have all the control. I hate to let's be real here. No. I mean, that's why we've had politicians on here, right? We have people who are just the ordinary people running for Congress. Cole Brocado, Natalie, Mike McMahon. We've had Patrick Lee Gibson on here, but these are everyday people who are starting to realize, we can take this back. Right. We can actually do something. And I want to tell that to firefighters sometimes too. There's power in numbers. You don't need to sit back and just be like, the union. No, if you get enough people to stand up and start pushing, there will be change. They have no choice. But it's because nobody's standing up. Nobody wants to bite that bullet or be the one to stand up and be like, hey, I don't agree with this. How was the United States formed? It was formed by people who said, I don't want to be governed like this anymore. I'm freaking over it. Came to the U.S. Look at George Washington. He freaking crossed, was it Delaware, right? River on Christmas Eve to attack the British. Dude was ruthless. He didn't care. So many people for this country sacrificed so much, and what we have and our freedoms were bought with blood, and yet now it's like people just want to give it up. And I hate to tell you, your government doesn't care about you. Your government does not, they're not going to take care of you. Okay? No. We're going to take away guns. Okay, cool. I don't care where you stand on the gun rights, right? That's your belief. Well, why are you taking away our guns? Well, you have the police. Well, you're trying to defund the police. So which one is it here? What are we going to do? It's like, come on, people. And the best story I know, at least for our freedoms and what we have and why I believe people need to stand up, is I think a lot of people forget how America was formed and how much sacrifice was put in for us to have these freedoms. I seen it because I grew up in a military home. My dad was a Green Beret for 20 plus years. And there's a story of our American flag and why we keep it up all the time. And it was this fort that was being just pummeled by the British all night long, dude. And in this fort, the Americans, they said, no matter what, you have to keep that flag standing. Keep that flag up on that pole. Well, they were bombarded all night. I mean, the story from this is that there was no pause from the cannon fire from all these ships that were out on the shore just bombing this fort. That was ours. They had the American flag up, and they said, knock that fort down until that flag comes down. Dust settles, they get up in the morning. Pretty much everyone in that fort, all the men were killed, and the flag was still up. It was still on a little pitch, kind of like this. It wasn't standing straight up, but it was up. And when the dust settled, it was from all the bodies of every man who went out one by one to hold that flagpole up to make sure that freaking flag stood up no matter what, even at cost them of death. Bodies blown apart, piled up, and those bodies were what holding that flag up. Wow. British left.
Gives me the chills, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, this country was founded on people saying no, going against the flow. Everything in this country was founded on people who believed in America and our way of life and our beliefs and our hopes and putting God first. And it's like, that's being lost. And you wonder why things are going into chaos? I mean, come on. It takes people standing up like you guys and other Firefighters4Freedom chapters and saying, no, I don't believe in this. And then you hopefully start getting people kind of in the closet like, yeah, I'm kind of with them on this. But it seems like people are so afraid to stand up. It's like, come on, man, stand up. Stand up for what you believe.
Oh, there's
stand up.
Oh, giddy up,
man. It got me hyped, bro.
I want to stand up,
man.
I want to run down the street with the American flag right now, dude, just screaming.
There's a lot of fear in stepping out and going against, the narrative. There's a lot of fear in that, and they've done a really good job at instilling that fear in individuals. And for us, it's taken a whole lot of courage. I mean, I'm certainly nobody special. Like I said, I
think you're special.
I think you're special.
Dude, honestly, man, I have so many weaknesses, bro.
Dude, look at the pomade in that hair. That part looks good, son.
Oh, I got my haircut yesterday.
Yeah, you look good, dude.
Oh,
come on.
Yeah,
bro.
But dude, honestly, man, I have so many weaknesses, and I can be a better man in so many ways. I can be a better husband. I can be a better father, and I work a ton. And really, it just takes a lot of courage and a little bit of effort. And we've been able to kind of come together and stand up, but it's definitely been tough, and we've touched on that, and I don't want to keep talking about that. But, I encourage, we encourage our guys, our locals, and our friends and family to take a stance and have a stance and don't live in fear.
Right. Yeah, Richard, I really feel like that's all of us, though. Like, none of us are perfect. And that's one of the things that's what creates cohesion as well. We all know that there's limitations on all of us. So we come together with one belief. Why are we here? So I think that really brings us together, and it should bring everyone, together. But there are these little things that just come in and divide, and they divide on, like we were saying, multiple levels, at the union, at the department level. But yeah, that's why we're here. That's why this podcast is here, for people that, have, we can come together on this podcast. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So yeah, man.
It's one of those things too, man. You said I'm a nobody. I tell people all the time, I'm like, dude, I'm a freaking nobody. I don't know. I just go after things I want to do. But it's another thing that I kind of, this book I went through a long time ago, and I just pulled it out. It's called Cast of Characters. And it talks about the men and women in the Bible that God used and how they were the nobodies, the down and outers, the ones that nobody expected. And I watched a show called The Chosen, and it's funny because they kind of go through the disciples, and you see them. They weren't anybody fantastic.
Just regular people.
They were regular people. He doesn't want the celebrity or the most educated person, right? He doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. You know, and that's something I kind of have to remember too sometimes. Like, we may think we're nobody, but you can have such a powerful change if you just stand up for the right thing. If you just stand to your guns and do what you feel called to do, you can be amazed at who you'll inspire, but who else will start backing you, and the more support you're going to get, you know? So I see what you're saying, but I think you're more of a person than you think, my friend. I mean, taking on the Verdugo Firefighters for Freedom and what you guys are going through, especially at work. And, you know, let's be real, right? We could say sticks and stones don't hate your sticks and stones will break our bones. Words never hurt me, right? Well, let's be real. Words hurt. People's actions hurt. We're all human here, and we can be the tough, strong men or firefighters, but we all want to be accepted.
Yeah.
We all want everyone to
day,
be our friends, you know? So that stuff hurts, and that's freaking hard. It's a mental game.
Yeah.
Because now you're coming to work, and you're like, oh, shoot, like, who's for me, who's against me? It's like, we're supposed to be crew cohesion here. It's not happening. It's just rough.
And really, like, we came together, and all of this was to see how we can help our brothers in LA City.
Yeah.
How we can help them. So, I mean, they organized this. They put all this together. Their time and effort. I mean, I don't want to shadow away from that by any means. I mean, they did a lot of work, and those guys are on the front lines of this thing.
Oh,
leave it to the
hard.
LA City guys to be a step ahead. But yeah, and then it happened in our Verdugo City in San Marino, and it hit a little bit harder. And then we talked earlier about CPF.
Yeah.
And you know, why we're a part of CPF, and what has CPF been doing, and what have they done in the past, and had them come out. You know, they've marched with the teachers unions before, and they've handed out, you know, cash, money, checks to firemen being laid off under certain pretenses to support them, and we just noticed that none of this was being done for any of our guys. I mean, our guys are finding attorneys on their own dollar. I mean, they're having to step outside of the unions to
why pay
save their
union
own
dues?
jobs.
Why pay your union dues, bro? That's why I always say it's like...
It's a legitimate question, right?
Yeah,
I mean, how could you not? I'm not an anti-union individual.
No,
I'm not
not at all.
anti-vaccination. This isn't about left or right. This isn't about race, ethnicity, culture, none of this. This is just standing up for what's right. And I mean, yeah, well, if the union's going to fight to protect wages, benefits, working conditions, yet they're not here for us on this is the biggest fire front of our careers. The biggest fire front. I mean, this is the most amount of terminations that I have ever witnessed in my short career in the fire service. And for them to take a stance. In fact, you know, they've boasted, hey, we're against the vaccination mandate. We're against it. But for them to stop there and not put together any campaigns, any rallies, any town halls, any marches, for them to not help our own guys through the litigation processes, and for guys being put off without pay, and the mental health crisis this has created within the fire service, the staffing issues, resource availability, I mean, you name it. I mean, for them to not be there in our greatest time of need is extremely disheartening, and it leads any practical individual to ask the question, like, why are we a part of it? Why do I pay union dues? Why do I pay CPF? What are you doing? If you're not going to be here for me in my greatest time of need, because you're telling me that you're not willing to fight it because you're going to lose on the back end of the deal, what am I supposed to believe? Who am I supposed to go to?
Yeah. Now, in your guys' area, have there been a lot of firefighters just resigning on their own and leaving, or are they staying? As far as if they're not vaccinated, because I've hearing, you know, I've talked to different people here and there, like, these certain guys are they're over it, they're done, they don't want to be a part of the fire service.
The restrictions in LA County make Orange County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County seem much more appealing, and we are losing guys.
And is the departments out there, are they hiring fast enough?
Oh, I mean, we're seeing lateral tests. Oh, you're talking LA County. Are
Just in that area? Yeah, because I mean, we know this, right? Working for a government agency, the turnaround time to hire people, it takes some time.
Oh,
yeah.
You know, it really does. So, you know, you have an attrition rate.
Yeah.
You know, especially now, because we're that generation where, you know, it's the boomers gonna boom. The boomers are leaving, right? They're retiring. Most of them now there's this huge gap. and we're trying to hire fast enough, but then you also have people who are leaving different departments or resigning or getting fired. Now you have these open vacancies.
To replace, 15, 20 years of experience on the job, it takes decades to replace that. I mean, they're running a company just like any other organization. They're trying to backfill these positions because we need bodies and spots. We can staff resources, and they're trying to do it as fast as they can, and I commend them for that because they're just doing their job. But yeah, unfortunately, the ones that are paying the ultimate price is the citizens that we serve. I mean, there's a lack in the services that we provide now just because of the experience that we're losing. Mm-hmm. And the outside counties around us are headhunting our best guys, offering incentives to go to outside counties, outside departments, with incentives.
Wow.
Yeah, it's sad. And I'm not convinced everybody knows about it,
Of course. Oh, no way.
CPF will say that, or the locals in Los Angeles County will say, well, this is what our constituents want, right? They want 100% vaccinated workforce. That's what they want. So we're just doing what they want.
Isn't that a bold-faced lie?
Right?
I mean, come on, dude.
I've been lied to before. But dude, to look at me straight on and just outright lie to me,
yeah.
Holy smokes,
well,
man.
I mean, I heard that too. I remember thinking, I kind of looked around, I was like, did you guys vote for 100? Because I know I freaking didn't. What's he talking about?
Right? So, I'm a big fan of give credit where credit is due. And some of these locals, a local I come from, they've done a good job, man. And I got to give them credit where credit is due. You can't just criticize and criticize and criticize. But I just feel as a whole, as a coming together, locals coming together, and the state union kind of picking up and leading this thing, we could do a better job. We could have done a better job. And it's extremely disheartening and discouraging to see that we're putting money before the truth.
I didn't like that my union more or less said, "Hey, you have your job. Don't worry about these other firemen."
I hate that. Was like, wait a minute, bro. I pay you, son.
I've been to Ground Zero right after it happened.
Yeah.
The firemen in New York are firemen. Mm-hmm. I know they don't work in where they work in different parts of Area C, Burbank, Glendale, Pasadena, but they're firemen. We're all brothers. Mm-hmm. And when Area C firemen are losing their jobs, or LA City firemen are losing their jobs, that's my brother. I don't like being told, hey, you have it good where you're at, don't worry. No, I'm sorry. That's morally wrong.
Now, for people that want to support at least Verdugo, is there a way they can kind of get a hold of you? I know you guys have an Instagram, right?
We do. We do.
What is that Instagram?
Verdugo Firefighters for Freedom.
Okay. And how can people support?
How can people support us? Well, our main mission has been to support the guys in most need in Los Angeles City right now in our county. So we encourage everybody to go to firefighters4freedom.org and donate to firefighters4freedom.org. Okay. And that's where our push has been pretty much this entire time. It's just helping our brothers right across the city line.
Right. They can buy shirts and hats, right?
Shirts,
hats,
stickers.
Events.
See upcoming events. Yeah.
And one thing too, we've
got a golf tournament coming up.
What?
Firefighters for Freedom has a golf tournament.
Dude, I'll caddy for you all day.
Yeah. That'd be an awesome event.
Yeah, dude. I go to the driving range, but I can't golf. You know what I'm saying?
You don't want to miss it.
No, but one thing I hope people understand too is Firefighters for Freedom, it's not like we're against people. Because I'm going to say I'm a part of it. I support it 100%. It's not like Firefighters for Freedom is this political thing where we hate. No, we're just trying to say, look, man, we should have freedom of choice and rights for ourselves. You guys can do what you want to do. That's fine. But we shouldn't be forced to put something in our body that we don't want to put in. This isn't a hate group. This isn't we're better than you. This is just supporting our freedoms.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're fighting for our freedoms. And I hope more firefighters can start to stand up and join Verdugo or join Arizona. LAC. I mean, we have so many chapters, right? Isn't there Contra Costa or something like that up there? I mean, we're all over the place.
There's a Marin County now that's around San Diego, Orange County. I mean, yeah, they're growing. There's chapters nationwide now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't take any credit for that. These are all the national chapter that's basically organized and set this entire thing up, and I'm just proud to be a part of it.
And now you guys are still trying to find your board, trying to get that together?
So we actually had more or less enough people to kind of run it and to do it, but we've lost guys. going to other departments. That's
Right.
kind of what ends up happening, right?
Okay.
You lose good guys. Yeah.
So we're still working out
working
the
on it.
details.
It's okay.
Yeah. In the meantime, we've encouraged our locals to get together and to unite, to talk to one another, and to come up with a game plan, and to kind of drop the mentality of I got mine, I'm safe and protected, and whatever happens next door happens. That's kind of been our push most recently, and then we've also encouraged them to have meetings with Hilda Solis is one of our representatives, Catherine Barger is another. Janice Hahn is another one of our representatives. So the County Board of Supervisors, they have a lot of influence over Barbara Farrar at LA County Public Health. So
Freaking Barbara, dude.
yeah, so that's where a lot of these mandates are. That's where this mandate's coming. That's where us firefighters are being classified as healthcare workers. That's where this issue is stemming from, and we can fix this. It's going to take some time, but it's going to happen through conversation. So we've encouraged that, and we've had some successful meetings with our County Board of Supervisor representatives. We're encouraging our local unions to stand together and stand united, and behind closed doors, they all say, they do, and we're against the mandate. We're against firemen being terminated over the vaccination, but we're not really seeing it publicly, and that's what we need is a more public, more vocal, strong stance against the vaccine mandate, and now we're raising questions to CPF. We're seeing CPF endorse these candidates. Their voter guide came out the other day, and it's a little disheartening when they're endorsing candidates or encouraging firemen across the state to vote for candidates that are pushing bills forward that are there to terminate employees on vaccination status, right?
Yeah.
When they're a labor organization that's there to protect us.
Yeah.
It's kind of backwards. So some questions are being brought up on that. And, we're here to ask those questions, and we're here to hold people accountable. And, if they're not going to be there to protect us in our greatest need, then why are we a part of their organization?
Yeah. It takes more people stepping out. It takes more, including you guys and everybody else. But, if anyone's that's going to be listening to this, I hope they find the courage to speak up and stand for what they believe in. You have to. I mean, if not, then you're going to let the few run the many, which is what is happening in this country. And you're seeing everything crumble.
As sad as it is, Firefighters for Freedom wouldn't exist unless these mandates were in place.
That's a good point.
It's people standing up, recognizing that, we might not have the support from certain groups that we were looking for, so we banded together, and that wouldn't have happened unless, the circumstances presented themselves. And that suffering or persecution that happens, it's part of it.
Yeah.
You kind of take it in stride. And here's a quote from a pastor that I really like named Vodi Bakum. Suffering is common for all. However, persecution, which is a form of suffering, it can be avoided simply by compromising. That's all you have to do. If I would have gotten that shot, none of this would have mattered. I wouldn't be here. Whatever. But then there's nothing that says that this can't happen again. In fact, if we can learn anything from all this, is that now we are in a position where we've developed a little bit of a foundation. We have some support now where something down the road, monkeypox, I don't know, you name it. Right. We actually have something that we can back each other up on now. I just hope it continues to grow. That's what I pray for.
I love it, dude. Bring up another. What is it? Isn't the flu kill more people than freaking COVID has?
Yep.
The everyday flu, and you don't have to get a flu shot.
Right. Yeah. That's a choice.
I'm just like, come on, man. Yeah, it's a choice. Right. It really is.
I signed a waiver that said I don't want to take the flu shot, and they said, okay, you're good.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, you look at the numbers, it's like, why are you pushing this so hard when there's other things that we can be vaccinated for, but we have a choice, and no one balks over it. But you bring up a good point. I think we call that conviction, right? You feel convicted, and
it is.
Gosh, conviction is so real. And I didn't realize that until I started feeling convicted in my own life. You're like, whoa, dude, this is like a burden. This is real. This is something that's on my heart. I need to stand for, And when people stand behind their convictions and really push, man, you see things change. Yeah. You may see them suffer. They're going to go through some stuff.
For sure.
But they're standing up for what's right.
They wanted us to sign the religious exemption. And initially I was kind of like, I shouldn't have to do that. There's no verse in the Bible, There's no, I mean, if you're a Muslim, there's nothing in the Quran necessarily or something like that, right? So it's how am I going to pull this religious exemption out of thin air? That doesn't make any sense. Well, I started praying about it. All of a sudden, you start feeling convicted. You know, the Holy Spirit starts speaking to you. Oh, okay, I got it now. There's my religious exemption right there. I sincerely felt and believed that I was being, you know, convicted by God.
Dude, it'll take you. It'll make you do crazy things, man.
Yeah.
You start standing by that, you're like, nah, man, I'm good. I know I'm backed right now.
Yeah.
Well, getting back to you guys both, what kind of got you guys in the fire service actually to begin with? Were you guys explorers, or you know, just kind of like you're doing a different job? You're like, hey, I saw this cool fire engine go by. I want to do this.
That's a good question, man. I'm an only child. I came from a family, you know, that works their butts off. My mom and dad work hard.
Yeah.
They work hard.
It's that generation, dude.
And hours, I mean, grueling work. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. They just work hard.
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, I played a lot of baseball in high school, and really, you know, I didn't come from like a highly educated family. Like really, I didn't really know like where to go other than just to go to work. So I started working with my hands. I was working in construction as a kid and kind of wanted to stay involved in that. I enjoyed it, and kind of became who I was. And I got involved in Los Angeles County Explorer Program, Station 181,
dude, I was
Battalion 15.
Yeah, I was at 39's Battalion 3.
Dude,
let's go, baby.
My experiences in LA County, man, like, dude, these guys were awesome.
Yes.
Legit.
Yeah, I'm still in contact with my post advisor.
Are you really?
Oh yeah, he's still a good friend.
Dude.
All these years, man. I'm 30. Yeah, I'm 36 now. I don't know why I had to think about that. I was like,
Dude, so there was a truck captain I used to ride along with when I was there, and they had open buckets at the time, open cabs. It was just gnarly. There was a Life Force 181. I was a kid, man. I didn't even know up from down.
Well, those are the days where they actually let us do some stuff, dude.
Yeah. So, dude.
Probably shouldn't
Battalion 15, Battalion Chief Troy Flath. I looked up to this guy so much. I still do. In fact, his daughter lives next door to me.
No way.
Yes.
What a small world.
Small world, dude.
Yeah.
Super small world. So he drives around. I see him, you know, 3 times a week. I always call him Chief because I respect the man so much. And he tells me, dude, you got to stop calling me Chief in public, bro. I'm like, I can't, dude. I have so much respect for you, man. But yeah, some great guys out of that station. And the culture was just, they were there to work. And they were going to stand up for one another. And they were going to be there. I mean, they were, yeah. It was.
So you started as an explorer?
Started there as an explorer. I went through the Explorer Academy. Did you ever go through the Explorer Academy there?
Yeah, I was 34, dude.
Okay. I don't remember what number I was. I know this, though. It was ruthless.
Craig Ross.
Yes.
You remember Craig Ross?
I remember. I remember Engineer Ross
you know what's
very well.
crazy is I do burns with him now.
No way.
Yeah, in LA. It's crazy, dude. I'm like, what? Dude, I was 15 years old, short, fat, and I remember being in the academy. And I couldn't reach up to get the ladder off all the way. And this guy came in my face, dude. Yeah, he just started yelling. I started crying.
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't do this, you know?
Yeah.
And, dude, they were ruthless. They were ruthless, too.
I fell when I was a kid. I was 15 years old, too. Mm-hmm. And I fell with the four-way in my hand one time. Do you remember the four-way? The thing weighs...
It's heavy.
It felt like it was 80 pounds when I was 15 years old. Mm-hmm. I fell with the four-way in my hand as I was running pretty much away from Craig Ross because I was scared to death. Dude, I hit my knee so hard on the grinder out there, and for a second, I thought he cared. About me. For a second, he showed that he had a heart for just a minute. He came and patted me on the back. He's, get up, son, get up. Come on, let's go. But yeah, he was good, man. And
he trained us well, dude. He got us ready.
Trained us well.
He got us ready for real life. He really did.
That was it.
Yeah, it really was. It was hard, but it was a good experience. I mean, at least for me, being an explorer made such an impact because I stayed in until I was 17 years old. My brother was 18. He was killed in a car accident.
Oh,
and I was actually on the phone with my explorer advisor. He's like, hey, next week we need you to do this. And then the police came to the house. They informed my parents, and just like madness erupted. And dude, my explorer advisor, the captain, they took the rig from Bell Gardens all the way to my parents' house in Lakewood, bought us food, took care of us. I'm not even a hired sworn firefighter. I was just an explorer, and they took care of me that much. That is what had a huge impact on me. I'm like, this is what I need to be a part of.
Yeah.
I'm just an explorer, and they came and took care of my family.
We're a family, man. It doesn't matter what patch you wear on your shoulder.
Right.
We're a family.
Yeah, and it's just sad because I feel like that's starting to go away because of all this stuff, dude. But what about you, man?
I was an explorer.
Where did you explore at?
Different department. But I was a terrible high school student. I had no direction.
You're in good company.
I didn't know what was going to go on. And I graduated top of my class in academics and in physical portion. Granted, I was 16 or 17, right? Pretty young.
Still, let's go.
But
man.
at that moment, I was more or less motivated.
Yeah.
And then senior in high school, 9/11 happened, and that was a big deal for me. Seeing that like unfold and seeing what those guys did and recognizing how many guys lost their lives. I went to El Camino Fire Academy.
Hey, that's where I went.
Class 121.
Woo. 110.
There was a gentleman that came by and he gave his little story.
Yeah, the
Remember?
New York firefighter, right?
Bobby Sen. Yeah.
Do they really still make us put the 6?
I still carry it in my uniform shirt today.
That's rad.
I still carry that 6. 6 is my son's favorite number. He knows all about that story. Essentially, the 343 that died, 6 were their first day on the job out of the academy.
First day, first call.
So I wear that 6 in my shirt with pride. Knowing that when I took that job, when I graduated from the academy, you don't know what the first call is going to be. It could be your 9/11. So that was the inspiration for me. Was when Bobby said, when you're not at work, you're there, and he was referring to post 9/11. Helping out the families of who lost their dad, their husband. Mowing lawns, going to kids' soccer games for these brothers that he lost. And that's when I realized, okay, this is more than just running 911 calls. This is an effort to support and love your community and to really invest in people's lives. So that was the inspiration for me. And that's when I graduated college. And I was like, I don't want to do anything other than this. This is what I want to do.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's like we all had that moment where it's impact. You realize you're doing something greater than yourself.
Yeah.
And you can impact not just the public's life, but your fellow firefighter. It's such like you said, it's almost like a calling. You have this instance where it just clicks. You're like, I want to be a part of this. There's something greater happening here, Yeah. And that's why I always ask when we have firefighters on, because things have changed so much, right? I think we all have like 15 some odd years on, whatever, 10 plus. But from the time we got hired to now, it's such a huge shift. It is way different, man. Way different fire service. And it's only getting worse. And that's why I support Firefighters for Freedom so much, because my belief is that it's through this, whatever happens to the tail end, if this ever ends, the pandemic, I think something greater is going to happen with Firefighters for Freedom. It's going to become an organization that's going to support so many good things for us, the right things, Yeah. That's why I want to bring you guys on here. We want you to be heard. We want people to know that there's a Verdugo Firefighters for Freedom and what you're going through and the stress and toll it's taking on your lives and how unfair it is. It just doesn't make any sense. Politics and money rule, and it shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
Yeah. And the ones that we've expected to take a stance, really haven't. And that's been disheartening. And really, we just encourage firemen that are like-minded and that share the same values and beliefs and the same stance on this to have that courage to just take a stance and stand up, stand with us, and become a part of the group. And, when I started back in the fire service, it was the same thing. Like, oh man, the fire service is changing. The culture is different. These guys are terrible, And and now we're saying the same thing about the generations coming in, and our training has come a long ways. Like some of the technology that we use nowadays has come a long ways. But really, what we're, tough times create strong men, and strong men create easy times. Unfortunately, easy times create weak men.
Oh yeah,
and it's not that we're weak, or it's not that our generations are weak, or that all of us are weak, but we've gotten comfortable.
Yeah, we're a product of our own society.
Yeah.
And we've lost that touch of family, and we've lost the value and the reason in which we're here. And that has caused us to not really have the self-confidence within ourselves to take a stance for what is right. And without a doubt, we're pillars in the communities in which we serve, and the community has expectations. And, it's our obligation, our moral obligation to stand up for what is right. at the end of the day. We're not anti-vaccine. We're not left versus right.
No, we're not some hate group. I mean, come on.
Come on, dude.
That's why when people try to put that out there, I'm like, stop.
Get
out of here.
Stop.
Like, we're
That's
not doing that.
The farthest thing from who we are. And
no.
We care about all of mankind. And, if you want to get the vaccine or wear 10 masks, you do whatever is right for you. But for them to basically keep us on the front lines of this thing when there was nothing out there. I mean, we were going home and we were taking off clothes before we went home, or we were staying in hotels for multiple nights at a time because we didn't know anything. We thought we were going to take it home to our families and we were going to hurt our children or our wives. So we were trying to protect everything that we had and everyone that we knew. And for them to flip the script on us now and paint us as the villains in this and now start coming after us over a political motive that is nothing less than that is wrong. And I want to say everybody knows that. Maybe some people have different viewpoints on that, and I respect everybody's viewpoints. But for a majority of our locals and, for 112 and CPF, they know what this is about. And they know it's not about the public, the safety of the public. They know that this is about money, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, it's. I hope that people start waking up. And the problem is, you said it well. I think our society and country has gotten way too comfortable. And I don't want to say like it needs to happen, but it's almost like there needs to be something pretty devastating to happen to wake people up a little bit, to realize how good you have it. People die trying to get to this country on boats, crossing borders, to have the opportunities that we have, to have the freedoms we have, so people can yell at you for not being vaccinated, and we can form Firefighters for Freedom.
Right.
The opportunities and freedoms we have in this country are unparalleled, and I think a lot of people have forgotten that. Way too comfortable. It's almost like, again, our country has opened themselves up for something major to happen, and I don't want that to happen. By all means, I'm not saying we need something to happen, but it's almost like there needs to be kind of an awakening, a rude awakening for people to realize, like, oh crap, like, dude, we might lose a lot here. We need to figure out and stand up what we believe in, So it's just it's a weird time. It really is. It's a tough time in our country, and I think the family suffering, the middle class is being decimated right now, and lower class, and that's where I know I came from. I know Sam comes from.
Well, that's an issue here in the state of California. I mean, the middle class is hurting right now.
Oh, it's getting crushed.
And the problem I see with this is that the California Professional Firefighters uses, their group, a labor union of firefighters, and every political candidate wants the endorsement of firefighters because inherently
everyone loves us.
Trust firemen.
Yeah.
And so they take the stance of, hey, we're only looking at what's going to benefit you as a fireman, whether it be wages, benefits, working conditions, or hours. That's it. That's all we're concerned about. I don't care where this candidate stands on social issues here in the state of California, national issues. They don't care about any of that. It's just solely what's going to benefit you, Tim, at the end of the day. What's going to help you in your pocketbook. And that's where I personally stand, is we're just looking at ourselves and what's going to benefit us. We're not worried about what's going to benefit our kids, our children, our wives, or the working middle class in the state of California. We're just worried about ourselves, and that's
communities we live in. All that.
Exactly, the stakeholders in which we serve. Like that. That's not who we are.
Yeah.
And we're done. We're done with that.
I feel you.
Done with that. And that's not why I'm here. It's not why I signed up for this job. And
yeah.
No,
I hear you. Before we start wrapping this up, I know you guys brought some notes. Is there anything else you want to get out to the public about Verdugo Firefighters for Freedom? I know you have notes. But yeah, is there anything else you want to tell people about what you're standing for, what we're doing, how they can support, how they can get a hold of you, any rallies or events that are coming up pretty soon?
We have a golf tournament. Firefighters for Freedom, the national chapter, has a golf tournament coming up. And at the end of the day, really thank you for the opportunity to share about who we are and what we are doing to help fight for individual freedom of choice. We encourage firefighters within the area that are just like us. I mean, I'm nobody special to just stand up and take a stance and join us. James, I've created some great relationships.
No, I'm grateful for the opportunity as well, man. Thank you so much, guys.
Oh, yeah, boys. I mean, it's what we're here for, man. We're here for our brothers, sisters, fire service, police, military, and just the everyday public, because I feel like people People feel like they don't, or their voice doesn't matter. Yeah. It's like, actually, your voice does matter. You just need to be heard.
And there's a network of support now through Firefighters for Freedom. So I would encourage anybody who's kind of on the fence or still not sure, or just to reach out if they have questions, to hit us up and ask us and see what we really stand for, because we're here. We're not going anywhere. So
share stories, talk, vent. Yeah,
I freaking love it.
Because we're all hurting, man. And
yeah.
It helps to talk to brothers that are going through the same situation you're going through. It does help. And I got to give all the glory to God first and foremost. He's been our leading motivational light through this entire time of hardship and unsettling feelings and discouragement, disheartenment. But really, the National Firefighters for Freedom chapter, those guys have done an incredible job, and
rock stars.
Their effort.
Awesome people.
Unbelievable people.
Yeah, they're working very, very hard.
Yeah.
Before we end this, though, we ask you guys just a couple questions. Just for fun. They're nothing bad, dude.
Is this a test or
no?
Okay.
This, you're good. No, it's nothing crazy. But we go. You guys will answer, and then me and Sam. So, if there is one song that would be a theme to your life, one song that would be a theme to your life, what would that song be?
Oh my gosh, I'd have to think about that.
I know mine. Can I tell you mine?
I'll tell you mine.
Go for it. Go for it. There we go. I like it.
It's 10,000 Reasons, Matt Redman.
Oh my gosh,
that is my all-time favorite praise song.
That's a really good worship song.
It just, for me, it puts things in perspective of what we're here for, why we're here, and just giving God all the glory.
I like
That's
it.
Me.
Wow, I feel like an idiot now because.
Well, let me show you.
That was pretty good.
I was like, dang, dude, he went.
It's funny you asked that question because the song that immediately came to my head was a Lord of the Rings song. But I was like, I'm not going to say that.
No,
but
you're good.
So my son has a baseball game coming up, and they asked him, what song do you want? This is your last game of the season. What song do you want to have played? And all the other kids on the team were saying, and these are 9-year-olds, like Rage Against the Machine and Metallica and all these songs. And he said a Lord of the Rings song, and I was like, that's my boy right there.
That's right, dude.
So that was the first song that came to my mind. But yeah, anyway.
Okay, well then I'm gonna be just a POS right now, and mine is Katy Perry coming like a firework. Is that what it's called? Maybe you're a firework, dude. I'm here, people. It's not as good as the worship song. I feel like. What do you got, Sam?
Dude,
There's so many.
Yeah, why? I don't know why, but I do know why, but the first thing that came to my head was actually a Bible verse, bro. It was James 1. He talks about like how everything, like there's trials and everything, and perseverance is what really pulls you through. I don't know that when you said a Bible verse that talks about your life, that verse is what talks about my life.
Good. It's good stuff.
I don't know why that just came to mind. But I can't. There's so many songs, but the verse really like solidifies everything. So yeah, it's random, but yeah.
Hell yeah. Ricardo?
Dude,
He doesn't have time to listen to music. That's the problem. He works too hard.
Dude, talking to this guy during a
works
week.
too hard.
Yeah, view me a lot differently, man.
It's Raining Men.
I don't have the opportunity to watch a lot of TV, and unfortunately, I don't listen to a lot of music, man.
Yeah, man.
Really? But you listen to this podcast now, right? You're number one fan. I'm just kidding.
On the spot, brother, I don't have anything for you, man. I'm sorry, dude.
No, you're good. Dude.
Forgive me.
No, that's okay.
I
work too much.
I came up with a verse.
Yeah. That's a tough question.
No, it is a tough question. Okay, last one. If you could go back and do things over again in your life, would you?
No.
Beautiful. Me either.
No.
Sam?
No.
There's too many good things that I've learned, even some of them the hard way. I've been through some terrible times in my life, whether it be my own hand or circumstances, but there's so many good things I've learned through a lot of those difficult times, or like I talked about earlier, the wilderness, right? What's the Lord trying to show me in this? Sometimes going through certain pain and certain letdowns opens your eyes to realize there's more going on. There's more to believe and trust in that will carry you through your life no matter what, no matter how difficult, how terrible it is. Any day above the dirt's a good day. And the Lord will always be here, man. Always.
Amen.
The point of that question is to see if you have regret, right?
Yeah.
Well, we all have regret, of course, but it's in those moments that we cling to God.
Absolutely.
Like you said.
Absolutely.
It's those moments that we look back and realize that we wouldn't be who we are unless we experience those things. So.
No, my goodness. There's so many things in my life that didn't work out, or a relationship that never happened. But then I look at where I'm at now, and you can see, I look back, I'm like, I'm so glad I don't work for that department, or I'm so glad I'm not with that person anymore. You're kind of like, gotcha. I see what you're doing there, because it kind of lines you up to where you're at now, you know? Right. So when I get to ask that question, I'm like, I don't know. I'd probably not. I don't think so. There's a lot of things I've learned that have been really good, good and bad. And it's one of those things, again, we talk about just trust. There's a plan for each of our lives, everyone's lives that are out there. It's just, you have to go on that journey and figure out what it is, you know? Amen. So that being said, you guys, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and taking the time to come out here. You guys are brothers. We're going to support any way that we can. You guys have an open seat on here anytime you want to come on and talk about anything. Truly love you guys, and keep up the good fight. You know, there's more support than you think. And don't be afraid to stand up. Get more people to back you, man. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. That's biblical, dude. Stand for your beliefs and what you believe in. Let the Lord work as He may. Who knows what's going to happen?
Thank you for having us on, brother.
Thanks.
I appreciate you guys, man.
Of course,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yes.
Sam, you got anything?
That was beautiful, man.
We're going to close it with that?
Yeah, man, every time new people come on, I'm just like, damn, man, there's always good stuff out there. Always more and more, just people with huge hearts, you know? I love it. Every time I come here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if anyone's going to be running a chapter for Firefighters for Freedom, they got the right people.
Yes, sir.
Right, you too. So appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you for coming on. We're going to get a let's go on 3. You guys ready?
Let's do it. Oh, yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Let's go.
Bye, everybody. And that's it. Thank you for listening in, everybody. I'd like to thank our sound engineer who makes this podcast happen and makes us sound very good, Stephen Clark. And to our first sponsor, 89 Barbers. Look good, feel good, be great. Come get your haircut at 2 locations, Long Beach and in Orange, California. Your appointment can be booked at 89barbers.com. That is EIGHTNINEBARBRERS. 89barbers.com. Again, look good, feel good, be great. Check it out. It's my barber. He is the man. Thanks, everybody. Bye.